One thing about male infertility from this diagram, it talks about, as I said, radiating your junk. Everybody has laptops on their lap, cell phones in their pockets. Can you talk a little bit about why it's important to not do that, and what can people do to protect themselves? We just live in a modern world. People are going to carry their cell phones. It's going to happen. What do you do, and why is it problematic what they may be doing right now when it comes to sperm count, fertility, and issues of that nature?
Yeah, so I've actually just written an article about this. Is technology making us dumb? That's the title of the article, and actually just done a tweet thread of how to protect yourself from radiation. But so where would I start with that? So there's the non-ionizing part of the spectrum, or the energy, the electromagnetic spectrum, and this doesn't directly break down DNA bonds, essentially. However, there's some discrepancy in what some of the studies show. There actually is an effect in laboratories, in animals, and there's DNA damage occurring in non-ionizing radiation, which is what radio frequency or microwave frequency would be at. It's very low energy, but it still has the potential to influence our physiology. Now, the testing or the safety guidelines around this is very, very shaky and grey. If you actually look into the way they look at safety, is they basically have a head, or like a head-like balloon of water, and they are basically just measuring the temperature of cell phone radiation. And again, in our modern environment, it's never just one phone, it's never just one Wi-Fi, it's an array of things. The people next door, the people over there, the hotel, the underground, the army even have extreme, crazy technology or radiation that no one really discusses. And actually, they're one of the ones who do all the research, but unfortunately, they don't share all the information out because it's so alarming. But going back to the point, so again, we want to be protecting our body. And there's a thing called the inverse square law, where the further away these devices are, the more mitigation we have against them from proximity point of view. So the further we apply distance, the more protection that we can have. And again, there's going to be always an effect, but you're just reducing the intensity and the power from the output of where that source is. So again, providing distance. And again, do you really need your phone on all the time? No. You can switch on airplane mode. Do you need it on in the tube? Do you need it on in the plane? No, that's what times we're putting in airplane mode. And again, it's kind of interesting to know that when you're in areas of poor reception, your mobile phone is actually working harder to find the network. And it's actually, its power output jumps up considerably. So you're now getting a big dose of radiation as a result of that.
Oh, wow. I did not know that. So if you're in an area where you're struggling to get a signal, that could be even more problematic if you have that in your pocket. Or I was not aware of that. That's fascinating.
Or even if you're traveling on the roads, like a lorry driver, or I don't know, on a train, you're going from one antenna to the next, and you're bouncing and you're transitioning to different stations. So that has an effect. But again, it's also inducing some heat there as well. Mm-hmm. And it's essentially just influencing our physiology by changing the polarity of a cell. So it's changing how calcium fundamentally works in our cell, and it causes or creates basically this cascade of free radical signal to do with peroxynitrate, which comes back to the nitric oxide. And essentially this activates certain inflammatory pathways, and your body has to cope. Now, there's also discrepancies within the research. There's conflicting interests. There's some studies that actually support beneficial effects. So it can actually induce bone healing, as an example. So again, it's not like there's not a one size fits all effect in radiation. Different people have different effects, i.e. we're made from different compositions, different water content within our body. Our brain is developing at different rates. And this is very concerning for the growing population, especially young children.
Right.
They don't have the protective effects that an adult does. So again, it's the abuse, and it's basically like child abuse, giving a mobile phone to your child for whatever reason. It's actually inducing like brain damage.
If you like the short clip, you can catch another one here, or you can catch the full episode right here.